Hi, Paul Simon Mzakazi Piri here on the segment TIKAMBE with Paul on the sixth episode with the title or topic, if you like it that way, in memoriam. Now, the post was posted this week. I just really don't know what was going on in your mind. I don't know what was really happening. But I know one or the other you could exactly depict some emotions being played there. Life is a mystery, they say. Life is in the spirit. Life is a series of different experiences. Life is a journey. Life is a school. So literally life has got a lot of definition. But you're going to discover that life here on earth is very short. Just to be precise and just to be direct, life is very short and unpredictable at the same time. Because it's like each one of us here on earth, there's a certain way in which we've been destined or predicted on how we are going to die. All of us, of course, we are going to die, but the pattern and the fashion in which we are going to die is very different. With all due respect, with all its styles and patterns. We have often heard of people dying in their dream, or maybe in their sleep. We have seen people died because of accident, poisoning. Some of them, they just failed. Some of them, they just went unconscious and that was the end. With all due respect, some people have died in labor and they never returned. Some people, they've been sick for quite a longest period of time and they didn't make it. Then there are certain people that a simple, if I can put it that way, a simple illness just got them. And that is how those people died. It was just a headache. It was just a simple flu. It was just a small complaint of rashes or irritation or allergies. And those people, they were no more. So the pattern in which each one of us is going to die is different. Now you see, this is what begins to make life a mystery. And at the same time, this is what begins to make life unpredictable. And that is why quite often they say, live the moment with your loved one. And the truth of the mystery is this, that the only assurance that we have is today and it's now. Because tomorrow will never be seen. We don't know about tomorrow. And that is why theologically they even emphasize, give tomorrow to the providence of God. Give tomorrow to the providence of the universe. Give tomorrow to the providence of the supreme divine being. The reason being is tomorrow is a mystery. Now, quite often, I have discovered that a lot of us, a lot of people do not want to talk about death. It's an ugly topic. It's a scary topic. It's a topic that has got less tolerance. People wouldn't want to tolerate such kind of a topic. This is because a lot of us were never ready, and I think in the human psyche and also in the human history, no human being has ever been ready for death. Because the whole point of us is we still want to continue to exist. We still want to continue to enjoy the favors of life, the patterns of life, especially in this present life, physical life, where we do not look at some point of the afterlife. I'll go a little bit into that maybe in other episode. But today I want to focus on the life that is here, that people do not want to detach themselves from, because we are never ready. We will never be ready. This is because aside from being created as spiritual beings, we are also created as social beings who are operating at the phase and the level of vibrations. So, and there's a common saying which my mentors usually brought to my attention, which they say, what you frequent you become. So we have frequented the most significant others, and these are the family members, our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our siblings, our cousins, our uncles, the extended family. And the vibration and the frequency to which we begin to share with these people is something that has knitted the bond. And that bond that has been created with this vibration and frequency, it is something that each one of us is not ready to detach from. No one is ready, even to the one that is listening to this podcast. No one is ready to be detached from your father. And you see, this is the most mysterious thing, funny, if I can put it that way, that no matter how unknowing your father might be, or he was, or he is, if he's still alive, there is a certain aspect and part in us that still holds a very strong vibrational bond. And therefore, no matter how unknowing or irritating he is, it is just in you that you do not want to tolerate the fact that you are going to be detached from this man. Same applies with our mothers. The vibrational bond that we share with them, it is something that each one of us is not ready to detach themselves from. Our brothers, no matter how annoying they are, this is because this vibrational bond was created unconsciously, but we begin to actualize it or awaken it with our conscious decision that these are the people that have come to love. These are the people that have grown to love. These are the people that have grown to appreciate in my life. So therefore, in its fundamental sense, these are people that I do not want to be separated from. And so, getting to be separated from these people, believe me, getting to be separated from these people, the wound is permanent. And this is sad reality that I want to bring to your attention. The wound is permanent. No one should downplay this. No one should even underestimate the pain of losing a loved one in death. Because the vibration of a bond that is broken, it cannot be replaced. It cannot be mended, actually. We can talk about caring, not healing. This is because this bond was just meant to be there. And this bond is just meant to continue to exist for as long as it can. So this bond is going to exist, but it's going to exist as a broken fragment of our life. And this is where Thomas More, in his book, Care of the Soul, puts it to say, this does not require healing per se, or that we should at some point rush, or at some point we should rush to say heal or move on. Like the way we rush to tell people that they should heal, the way we rush to tell people that they should move on. But there's a point to which we usually neglect, which is the caring. Because this vibrational bond, it is something that it can go on broken, but it cannot consume you. Because it cannot be replaced, neither can it be repaired. But we can just continue to learn to live with it in a healthy way. And this is where death is the most painful experience that you can ever experience in life. There's nothing more painful in life than having to be detached with someone that you will know permanently you will never see them again. You will never feel their energy again. You will never hear their voice again. Their favorite spot in which they used to stay or to sit in the house, that place will remain empty. Those complimentary messages that they used to give you, those pop-up messages they used to give you, those long calls they used to give you, you're going to realize that that is normal. That is done. It is permanent. There's a Chewa song, which is one of my favorite funeral songs that we usually sing. And I remember this song was sung during my father's funeral, and specifically at the body viewing. This song says, this face, this forehead you're seeing today, you will never see it again. Mbale wanga nkope, nkope yanga simzaiona. Inkope simzaionanso. This face, you will never see it again. Mwanitenga nirigone, mwanitenga nirigone, mbale wanga nkope, kope yanga simzaiona nkope, kope yanga simzaiona. Mwanitenga nirigone, you have taken me in my sleep. Therefore, this face, you will never see it again. Imagine this voice that you are hearing or listening to in this podcast. You will never hear this voice again. This face with specs all the time, my blue specs that I always wear when I'm moving around, you will never see them again. Those jokes that I used to crack, those funny status that I usually put on my social media, you will never see those things again. This is what begins to give the painful experience of death. And this is where a lot of people pick up, and some people have never picked up. I know people that have navigated the pain of losing a loved one. They are trying here and there to get back to their normal selves. But at the same time, I have seen and have known people that until today, they have never been the same. Now, one reality that I want to give to you, or one reality that I want to bring to attention when we come, or when we talk about death is, and this happens to be the harshest truth, if there's something like that, brutal truth, it will never be the same. It will never be the same. And the only thing that remains is a scar, but it will never be the same. You see, one of the realities that I had even when I was growing up, I had this thought that I used to harbor within me. Young as I was, but something just used to tell me that one of my parents one day, between the two, I don't know who, but one day is going to die. And in as much as I knew, even as I was growing up, in as much as I knew that one or both, they're going to die. But the only thing that was in me is that I wasn't ready as well to entertain the thought that they're going to die. But the other part of me used to know that they're going to die someday. And the way my late father, may the Lord continue to bless his soul, the way this man died, because before my father died, he had a lot of scary sicknesses. There are times whereby the first one that I remember very well, I think that was in 2008. That one was the most scary one because he just dropped unconscious and he was struggling with the heart. Mtima, the heart. And young as I was, something was telling me, is he going to make it? Because the situation was bad. It was very bad. And within myself was like, Kaya, it will take the mess of the Lord, you know. But the following morning, I saw my father being decided and coming back, though he was struggling to walk. And my father was back. I was like, praise the Lord. And in 2018, he was hit with partial stroke. I think he stayed about a month or two in the hospital where he was admitted with stroke. Partial, it was partial actually. It wasn't that severe. And to a larger extent, it affected his sight. It even affected his mental ability and capacity a little bit. So when he was discharged, we made sure as the family that he bounced back, but the memory had a bit of a problem and the sight. But after 2019, he was back to normal. Like this man never had stroke. He even reported back for work. And he was just there. But then, how he just died. There was no trace of any sickness. My father died a silent death. And that is in 2020. My father died without saying any word. He just looked at us. And he struggled to bring out words. Those are the things I remember. He wanted to say something, but he was failing. Because I don't know if his speech was locked, his words were locked. He couldn't say or do anything. The only thing I remember, he could just make signs, but those signs were very difficult to comprehend. You know, we were just all over as well as a family. Wanted to check this and that. Well, I think within 45 minutes after they rushed him to the hospital, everything was concluded. And it was just the most heartbreaking phone call that I received from my older brother, because he's the one that escorted with our neighbor and other people of goodwill. Me, I had to stay behind to look after my siblings. The most heartbreaking message of a phone call that I received from my elder brother was, "Bro, we need to be strong. Dad is normal." It was normal, just like that. Just at that point that we needed him. Just at that point that some of the dreams and visions that he wanted us as his children to fulfill, they were coming to completion. That's the day he went. It was painful. It was hard. It was difficult for my young sister, because my young sister and my father were very close. It was difficult for my mother. It was difficult for my elder brother, knowing that he is now the elder brother, but is also now the father of the nucleus family. It was difficult for my immediate young brother, because my immediate young brother, they shared a very unique bond. It was difficult for me as well, because I'm named after my father. It was difficult for the whole family. It was a blow. You see, it felt like a dream. You know, it is very easy when your friend tells you or convey a message to say, "I've lost a loved one," and it's very easy just to get on your phone, get on your keypad and just begin to say, "Oh, bro, I'm sorry, my condolences." That is the most easiest thing you can do. But not until that reality is on you. That's when you're going to realize that it feels so good to be a dream. And I will tell you, to me, I felt like this is the worst dream that I need to wake up to. To me, it felt this is a dream that I need to bind and shout fire and say the devil is a liar. But nah. It was the reality. It was true. It was true. Mr. Peary Sr. was gone. The first day, of course, we are surrounded with crowds, we are surrounded with people. It felt like, no, it's a joke. Maybe this is a reality we are going to wake up to. Tizauka, tizapopoluka. Man, we were not. As a matter of fact, the wound was even becoming more worse. Worse on my end, where your uncles are even coming to ask you to say, what kind of a coffin, what kind of a casket should we get for that? Imagine, I'm one of them that was asked to say, what kind of a suit Would you want your father to walk on the send-off day? And this is when that I just got to realize to say, okay, so this is real. This is real. This is not a joke. And the day of burial came. It was the most painful day in my life. I couldn't see and I couldn't believe my father in the casket. And I don't know how many times that I broke down just in disbelief. That just like that, in silence, with no words of goodbye, no words of counsel, no anything, the man is gone. And today we are putting him in the soil, just like that. And I just don't know. So I say, this is how heavy it is. You just don't know. And if someone is to tell you that they can describe the pain they have, that there's something wrong with them. To me, the pain that I felt seeing my father lifeless in the casket is I don't know. I'm yet maybe in the future to have better words, but the truth is I don't know how I felt. Well, the burial ceremony was concluded, and you just know how it is. People still offer condolences, and we thank them. But by the time the day of burial was concluding, we were almost the nucleus family. A lot of people left. They went. After a week, we were back. The 5 of us. How? Now, let me tell you how the experience is, and I know a lot of you can relate to this. A funeral to me, and this is not objective, this is subjective. To me, subjectively, a funeral is when you bury. That's when the actual funeral starts. Because that's when you begin to feel the absence. My father was a professional carpenter. So there are times that he could have contracts where he could be gone for a month or two working on a project. So that's in those few weeks and months, that's how it could feel. Maybe that is somewhere one day is just going to appear. One day is just going to appear but no. We are in the 4th year now. The man has not appeared. It is gone. Just like that. Okay. After a lot of people, of my relatives, friends, went, that is when we felt the actual impact of the loss. That is when some of us will remain with photos of him, few clothing of him, and few things that he used to work on as being a carpenter. Those are the things that could just remind us of him. And that was another phase of mourning. So there's the first phase of mourning, which is actualizing the actual loss. You have received the news that your loved one is gone. Okay. Then there's a second one where you begin to mourn the absence, the permanence of the absence, where you know that this absence will never be filled with anyone. This absence, no one is going to feel it. It's just going to be like that for the rest of our lives. That was another pain. Again, I'm a lover of books and I'm also a writer. It was very difficult for me to read and to focus and to concentrate. Those are the days I think I remember I could be moody. I could just want to be alone. Anything that related with Dad could trigger me. I don't know if I'm making sense so far. The space, the gap that my father left, the bond, the vibrational bond, as I've said, that was broken, can never be replaced by anyone else but he himself who went. And this is just what just began to create that serious crisis in us. And at this moment, I want to leave it there. What has been your experience? What has been your experience? What has been your painful, difficult phase of life with this and in handling this? In memoriam, when we talk about in memoriam, it's when you remember, because you'll continue to remember, and you will continue to have this, and this is going to be with you for the longest period of time. But how do you process that pain? There's a common phrase that I've heard from quite a number of people, that we do not heal from the pain of losing a loved one, we just pretend. To some extent, I agree, but to a large extent, I don't agree, especially with the part of pretense. You do not have to pretend. You see, coping up and living with the loss, you just have to live with the truth of what is obtaining within yourself. So let's try to eliminate and to remove the pretense. Maybe, for example, we try to say, losing a loved one, we cannot be completely healed, but we can care for the wound. And I'm interested with the care, because the relationship that we shared with that particular person, the relationship that we shared with that individual is different, and it's at a different vibrational level. So rushing it for healing is an injustice. So let's talk about caring. Let's talk about caring. And this is what begins to throw me as I'm concluding this podcast, of what are some of the ways in which we care for the pain of losing a loved one. What are some of the ways in which we begin to care? What are some of the ways in which we begin to appreciate the loss of our loved one? Number one, grieving. Grieving has got no limited or specific time. No one should tell you that we should grieve for 3 days and forget. No one should tell you that we should grieve for a year and forget. Some of us we are going to grieve for the rest of our lives. And grieving in itself doesn't mean that it's a sad or mood reality where you lock yourself and every day you are grieving. No. It is this trigger that you always go with. It is this trigger that you always feel. It is this trigger that you always appreciate, to say, oh, okay, we had this particular person, we had these particular people in our lives. You feel bad, you feel sad, you feel low about them, but with time you pick it up. So give yourself enough time to grieve. Grieve as much as you can. Grieve as possible as you can. Grieve for the longest give yourself a chance to grieve. And Daniel Mauritius, in his book, The Joy of Being Human, there's a statement he said, feeling and acknowledging your pain, it is one way of being human. So you being at the grieving stage, missing your loved one, feeling the grief, doesn't mean you're not a human. Actually, that makes you more human. So the humane aspect in us demands it that we grieve. Give yourself a chance. And there's some people that they do not want to grieve because they don't want to feel bad. Listen, with all due respect. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance to grieve. Grieve as much as you can. Lilani. Mverani chisoni. Mverani zameneziwa wako mtima. Listen to that heartbreak. Listen to it for as much as you can. Be available to the struggle. This is what my mentor and my hero, Mr. J.M. Tunde, this is what he usually tells. Be available to the struggle. And this is what I want to tell the larger audience today. Be available to the struggle. That's number one. Number two, talk about their memories. There are certain things that maybe to some extent we begin to feel sad, or to say, no, maybe people think as if I've not moved on. Hey, come on. Remove people, but be you. Be you. You. What do you feel about those memories? So find ways to talk about those memories. Find ways to talk about what you miss about the loved ones. No, I miss their smile. I miss their voice. I miss their messages. I miss their advice. I miss their counsel. I miss their singing, their talent. I just miss it. This is another way to which you begin to care for the pain of losing a loved one. So how much do you talk about the memories of your loved ones? This is also another one. Number 3, find time and again to remember their birthday, remember their memorial. These are the things that will be helping you to gauge and to measure how much you are making progress in letting them go and in accepting the situation. So it's not wrong to wish them happy heaven birthday, happy memoriam, and that is the topic in memoriam. So talk about those days. Remember what happened on those days. And after that, surrender it and let it go. Number 4, exercise the ability to let go. It's not easy. It's tough. You might even exercise surrendering and letting go for the next 2 years or 3 years or 15 years. You're just surrendering. It's normal. This is because these people had the greatest impact in your life. Friends, let it go. Listen, Sissy, I know it's painful to let go of the death of your mother, but let it go. And let her go. And let her go. Brother, I know it's hard to let go of your father, but let him go. Let him go. And let the whole situation go. I know it's not easy to let go of the death of your sister, your brother, your sibling, your loved uncle, your loving grandma. But find it within yourself to let it go. To let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. When we begin to let go and when we begin to surrender, we open doors for grace to flow. We open doors for the grace of the Lord to come in the inner chambers of our heart so that we can begin to live with the loss and the pain. And that begins to help us to live well and better. Number 5. After the death of our loved one, may we never stop. May we never stop to do what we were doing. If you are going to school, continue going to school. If you needed to graduate, you need to graduate. If you needed to break the record, break the record. In dedication to your loved ones. in dedication to your loved one. So for today, as part 1 in Memoriam, I want to leave it here. Just want us to leave it here. Next week Sunday, we are going to continue with part 2 with the Memoriam, where we are going to talk about healing in death. Healing in death. That's what we're going to look at next week. For now, I want you to maintain this mood. Give yourself time, space, and chance to reflect, to pray, to go back, and to start mourning correctly and right. And always remember, after the loss of a loved one, you can still care for the wound, and you can still become better and not bitter. This can happen when we surrender everything, when we are real and available to the struggle, to surrender and be real with what we feel. And that is where the grace of the Lord begins to come from. Well, you have been interacting with me, Paul Simon Mzakazi Piri, your host on the segment TIKAMBE with Paul. And the topic was in Memoriam. We shall continue with this topic, same space, same time, next week, God willing, where we're going to dive a little bit deeper about healing in death. For now, may this help you to begin to face the pain,